Hey, how's it going? This is Mr. Bob, the People's Black Belt, and welcome to episode 6 of Breaking Down the Basics. So today we're going to go over the jab cross. Now, normally people just think of it as just jab cross, but there's a little more that goes into it. But I'm going to break it down nice and easy to let you know the easiest way to do it and understand what you're doing at the same time. All right, so let's get it started. So just like normal, I always have my hands up. And like we discussed in a previous video, when I throw my jabs and my crosses, I kind of like to pretend that they're on a clothesline, going back and forth. So it'd be back. So when you punch, you bring it straight back, straight out, straight back. Now, another thing that I like to do, and I like to tell my students, is when we're throwing our jab and our cross, I like to show them that we're pivoting. Now, when we pivot, when I throw a punch, when I pivot, it gives me just a little bit more penetration on the punch. And a lot of times with this added penetration, you get a little bit more power into it. So what I like to tell my students is, let's just pretend you have a string tied around your pinky. Now that string is also tied or attached to your heel. So when you're throwing your jab, it pivots, it almost like it pulls your heel as you're throwing that punch. Same thing with the cross. You pretend like you have a string on your pinky and it's attached to your heel. So when you throw that punch, your heel comes up off the ground. Like I said, what it's going to do is going to give you a little bit more penetration, and a lot of times it's going to give you a little bit more power. So what we're doing is we're going straight down that clothesline, but in addition to go straight up and back on that clothesline, pretend like a string is right around our pinky and attached to our heel, clothesline, and that rope connected. Especially with the cross, because the cross, if you're just kind of throwing it, you're not putting your hips into it. The more you put your hips into it, the more power you're going to get, without a doubt. Because instead of just using your arm, you're using your hips for your punches. Same thing with your jab. Granted, your jab is more of like a snapping punch, just kind of like our front snap kick is a front snap. Our jab is the same thing. What I like to tell my students is your front snap kick is kind of your jab with your foot. But if you pivot, you're putting your hips into it a little bit, you can get that much more power. So when we're doing it, make sure you pivot and run straight up and down that clothesline. All right? And one more thing, when we're throwing punches, you want to make sure that you have a correct fist. Now when you're making or at least when I make my fist, I like to bring my fingers down. This finger here, I bring straight. And then I cover it up with my thumb. I feel like it gives me a tighter grip or a tighter fist. So when I'm throwing, it feels a lot better. So like I said, my fists, I go here, straighten out the index finger, cover it with the thumb. Now when we're punching, you want to make sure you punch with the correct knuckles also. You want to punch with your top two knuckles, these two right here. Now when you're punching with these two knuckles, there's less of a chance, if you punch correctly, of injuring your hand. Now you'll notice these knuckles here are a lot larger than these two. That's why I look to punch with the larger knuckles. If I'm going to punch with any knuckles, it's going to be with the larger ones. All right? So, like I said, making your fist, straighten your index out, cover it up. Same thing on the other side. Straighten this out, cover it up. And then when we're punching, we're going up and down that clothesline. We're pivoting to put more power into it and also get a little bit more penetration. Boom, boom, bop. So thank you very much for watching this episode on the jab and the cross. Please, if you have an opportunity, please like the video and subscribe to our channel because we have a lot of stuff on there and we have a lot more stuff coming. Thank you very much.